Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unbox something you use every single day, but I'm willing to bet you've never actually read it. Yep, we're talking about the Spotify Terms of Use. I mean, come on, let's be real. You see that massive wall of text? Your eyes glaze over, and what do? You just scroll, find that little box, and click Agree. Hey, we've all been there. But here's the thing. The second you hit play on that song, you've accepted everything in that document. So what in the world did we actually agree to? Let's dive in and really break down this contract that, yep, you've already signed. Okay, first up, the agreement you've made. This is all about the fine print on your daily soundtrack. And let's get one thing straight right away. This isn't just some friendly list of suggestions. No, this is a full-on, legally binding contract between you and Spotify USA, Inc. So right out of the gate, the agreement just checks some boxes to make sure you're eligible to even use the service. You know, the basics. You have to be 18 or older, or at least 13 with your parents okay. You also have to live in the United States, and of course, promise that all the info you gave them is actually true and accurate. All right, next section, what you get and what you give. This gets to the core bargain of the whole thing. I mean, at the end of the day, a contract is just a two-way street, right? It's an exchange. So let's look at the fundamental deal you've made with Spotify. And here it is, the core trade, laid out plain and simple. On one side, Spotify gives you permission to access their massive library. But notice the keywords. It's limited, personal, and they can take it back. It's revocable. In exchange, what do you promise? Well, you promise to play by their rules, not to go around redistributing their stuff, and to give them certain rights and licenses. It's a trade-off. And this is a really, really important point. You are licensing the music, not buying it. So you never, ever actually own it. Even those songs you download for offline mode? Nope. Think of it like you're just renting them. You have a license to listen, but the actual ownership, that always stays with Spotify and the original rights holders. Okay, so what about the stuff you create? This brings us to our next section. Your content, Spotify's platform. This is a big one. Who actually owns that perfectly curated playlist you spent hours on? Let's find out. First things first, the agreement has a name for all this stuff. Anything you post, upload, or contribute, playlists, messages, your profile pic, they lump it all together and call it user content. It's a pretty broad umbrella. Now, here's some good news for you. The terms are actually super clear on this. You still own your user content. So that masterpiece of a playlist you made, yeah, that's still yours. Phew. But there's always a but, isn't there? For Spotify to actually use that playlist on its service, to make it playable and shareable, you have to give them some pretty broad permissions. And this is where that fine print gets really interesting. Okay, I know that looks like a giant wall of legal jargon, right? Let's just translate it. Basically, you're giving Spotify a license to do, well, pretty much anything they need to do with your content to make their service work. They can copy it, change it, show it to people all over the world, and they don't have to pay you for it. It's how your public playlists can show up for someone in Japan without them having to call you up for permission. It's an irrevocable, worldwide license. And get this, it doesn't even stop with your content. You're also giving Spotify permission to use a little bit of your device's power. Yeah, its processor, its bandwidth, its storage, all to help the service run more smoothly for everyone else. Kind of like you're part of a giant peer-to-peer network. Moving on to our next section, the service can change. This is a big one. It's all about Spotify's right to modify, suspend, or just stop things. Basically, the Spotify you know and love today might not be the same Spotify you get tomorrow. Yep, they have the right to change things up, suspend features, or even shut down parts of the service entirely. And the kicker? They can do it anytime without giving you any notice. This could be anything from a small feature to your entire subscription plan. And this is a classic piece of legal text you see everywhere. The service is provided as is and as available. What does that mean? It means they're not making any promises. No guarantees it'll be perfect, uninterrupted, or totally free of bugs. You get what you get on any given day. So what happens if something does go seriously wrong? Let's say there's a huge outage that really messes things up for you. Well, their total liability to you is capped. The most they'd ever have to pay you is either what you paid them in the last 12 months or just $30. Yeah, $30. All right, this brings us to our final and maybe most important section, how you settle disputes. This is all about the arbitration agreement. Pay close attention here because this part controls exactly what happens when you have a real problem and customer support just isn't cutting it. Here's the bottom line. By clicking agree, you agreed not to sue Spotify in a regular court of law. Instead, any and all disputes have to go through something called mandatory arbitration. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means you've given up your right to have your case heard by a jury. It also means you can't join a class action lawsuit with other users who might have the same problem. Every dispute is handled individually, one-on-one, and the final decision is made by a neutral arbitrator, not a judge. But wait, there's more. You can't just dive right into arbitration. There's a process, and you have to follow it. First, you have to send Spotify a formal written notice about your problem. Then you both have 60 days to try and work it out informally. Only if that doesn't work can you finally file a demand for arbitration. And you better not wait around because the clock is ticking. The terms are very clear. You have exactly 1 year from when the problem happened to file a claim. If you miss that 1 year window, that's it. You lose your right to do anything about it. So after all that, what's the real takeaway? Look, the point of this isn't to make you want to delete the app. Not at all. It's about pulling back the curtain and just being a more aware, more informed user. It's about actually understanding the bargain we're making with the services that are such a big part of our daily lives. Because once you really dig into one of these agreements, it kind of makes you stop and think, right? It makes you wonder, what other digital handshakes have I made? What else have I agreed to without even realizing it?